going to be a fucking right fuck up, this is, mate. I tell you now.
It ain't a proper stream without a heck of a load of scuff.
Exactly, mate. Right, I think, actually, I don't know if we're on now. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
I quit.
I've got the playback on. I can see myself. I can see you. I can see the background. Everything seems to be fine.
Right, okay, so I'm going to start
It's working.
I think I'm going to start it up now. Either that or I'm going to set off World War 3. We'll see.
Yeah.
Got no music, can't afford it.
Oh, you are a bloody disgrace! Hey, Buzz! For missing the target from there, you want bloody shooting! Oh, it's crap! Oh, it's bloody rubbish! It's rubbish!
But how do you react, though, when someone, you know, from your playing staff comes in and says, boss, I think you're doing this wrongly?
Good. Well, I ask him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it, and then we talk about it for 20 minutes, and then we decide I was right.
Hello. Again, I hear you.
No.
Yeah, I can hear you. Great stuff. Right.
Yay! You can hear me as well.
Yay! He can't see me apparently. It's all dark, so I think I must not have paid the electricity for the cave. So I'm in the dark at the moment. This is a new episode, first episode 1, which is why it's been a massive fuck up. But that's just how it goes. View from the Cave, new show, talking about all the weekend's games. Just having a general. What's a fucking general? Just having a general chat, and meet my guest is HotFuzz. And hello everyone in the chat.
Hello. How we doing? Everything seems to be scuffed, but it's not quite it's not a proper stream without a bit of a stream of scuff.
It isn't.
Same thing across the board with pretty much everyone else, and it's actually sometimes hilarious to just watch everything just like it's like a movie set that's just falling apart right before your very eyes. It's hilarious to watch it, but yeah, it's good to be here, and first guest on the new series, the new I'll call it a documentary, the new podcast, if you want. I'll call it a podcast, and View from the Cave. It's going to be an interesting show, and I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about. And hopefully our movie set that we've got, the cave doesn't come crashing in on us. So fingers crossed.
This is it. I mean, it has become a documentary of how not to start a new show, basically. So if anybody wants to see that show at some point of how not to start a show, then I think you've already seen it.
Our stage crew ran away before we could control the camera, so we're having to do everything ourselves.
Yeah, I can't unfortunately put things up on the screen of what people are saying. I bet there is a way of doing that, but I don't know how to do that yet. I mean, I've only just managed to actually work out how to fucking do this shit. So, right, anyway, big up to Carl Rossi in the chat. Big up to Mama Flossie in the chat. Big up to DJ Crane in the chat. My man, my woman, whatever. And big up to Kudos as well in the chat. And there we go. Right, we're on level terms now. Yeah, so basically it's view from the cave. It's all about the week's games. I've got some graphics to put up on screen. See, I've been working on this all yesterday and I had it all ready, and then I got ready to go live and it just all fucked up, which is the way it works in this world nowadays. Well, definitely in the Yeti's world anyway. But, you know, if I live in a cave, you can't expect me to be technically brilliant, can you, really? I mean, all I know how to make is fires out of sticks and flint. So, yeah. Right, so first off, we're going to go with Luton v Spurs. Right, first of all, I will say I keep hearing that Tottenham was great and all this kind of stuff. For a top of the table team, I think they need to be doing a little bit better than this. I know they had all the possession and all the chances and stuff, but you got to be putting them chances away, man, because if Luton had managed to score that chance that they had, then they would have been in trouble. And Tottenham went down to 10 men because Yves Bissouma is an absolute plank, because he already had a yellow card and then decided to try and dive and get a free kick, which then seen him get a second yellow, which was a red. And then Mickey van der Ven scores, which is a nice goal, to be fair. What do you think, Fuzz? Do you think these are the next Premier League champions, or do you think they are the North London buffoons still?
Well, I mean, if it was Arsenal we were talking about, we'd be talking about the new era Invincibles or something along those lines. But thankfully, Tottenham haven't gone and done that sort of achievement before, so I know that they wouldn't be able to talk about things like this. But from the neutral standpoint, watching this game, and I watched most of it live, it felt like it was a game that Tottenham came into. They were looking as though, this should be like a sort of 2-3 3-0 routine sort of game, right? Routine away day. You know, handle your business. A bit like Burnley, isn't it? A bit like the Burnley game. Go away, handle your business, and just as long as you got those 3 points, that's all that matters. And I suppose that's probably the sort of viewpoint from it in a hindsight sort of fashion. But it looked like Tottenham wanted to make this game a lot more difficult for themselves than what it should have been. From having all of the possession, you know, passing around, it's all well and good, having all this nice fancy passing stuff and all the passing stats and possession stats. It all counts for naught if you're not putting the ball in the back of the net. And it felt like for large parts of that game, late first half, going second half, that it was going to be one of those days. And I think having the Bissouma red card very late in that first half probably looked a bit like it was going to be one of those where it's like, Tottenham's biggest enemies today were not Luton Town, it was Tottenham Hotspur. And usually it's like with United, if we sometimes talk about United, they easy games. No, we make it difficult for ourselves. And it felt like Tottenham were sort of going down that garden path of making light work seem like difficult work.
I mean, Luton do play hard, to be fair. I mean, for Luton, it was it reminded me a bit of us last season, where basically you fight hard to win the ball, but whenever they did win the ball, they just didn't have the quality to finish it. And as I just seen from Kudos, only reason we weren't up 4 by half time was Richie. Yeah, that's fair point, very fair point. And you had some good chances, just a lot of misses. But I think you've got to get a little bit more prolific if you're actually going to be serious about trying to do what you want to do at the moment. Adebayo chance, I mean, that should have been a goal, to be fair. I mean, what a miss, mate. What a miss.
Yeah, how he didn't score that it's like you watch it in slow motion and the looks of absolute disdain and horror that were plastered all over the Luton masses. Just how do you not score from there? because the ball comes across the box and it's one of those far post goals. Like it's just written. This
Big up, Dal, mate.
League One, like Championship strikers bury them. League One strikers bury them. League Two strikers bury them. Conference North and South League strikers bury them. Every player in walking football, someone who's playing on crutches in disabled football.
Well, Nketiah would have missed it.
That's kind of true. Yeah.
He probably wouldn't have even touched it, to be fair.
He wouldn't have even been anywhere near the ball. But for me, it's like
he'd have been in defence.
He'd be off the camera. But it's like the technique in which he tried to do it is like he tried to use the outside of the near side boot. Actually sort of like place it in, but he sort of catches it underneath him and then collapses on the ball and gets it caught underneath him and then slides out of play, so the ball goes out as well. Yeah. And it's like, but the commentator at the time was talking about just let it come across to your left side and place it on the inside of your boot.
It was so obvious, wasn't it? But I suppose it happens so fast. It's all right for us to sit here and say, you know, you take your time a little bit with that and you would have got a goal. But, you know, it all happens so fast. And I bet he's good, absolutely good, because they really need that. And I want them to get more than 11 points so that Derby scum keep the 11-point horrible, you know, what they did in the past. Carl Rossi says Nketiah would have tripped over trying to get near it. Yeah, I think Havertz probably would have kicked his own leg and broke it and gave you another injury, I should think. And, you know, I mean, that wouldn't be too bad because that means you don't have to see the lanky streak of piss on the pitch anymore. Oregon Goon, that despairing player yesterday on your stream when I thought it was Havertz, my lord, I was hiling. Yeah, good stream yesterday, mate, with the FIFA bud. Yeah, I'm going to do mine at some point, 2019, because it ain't much different to yours, really, which to me is absolutely shocking how much that game costs. And it's not much different to the one I've got.
You've paid that much money for a game where players disappear on the other team. Charles, I saw it with a Mark Goldbridge clip that came up on one of my on my Twitter feed, where he's literally playing career mode. And out of nowhere, one of their players, their striker, just disappears, becomes invisible. You just see this ball moving across the pitch and scores. You're like, what? What is this? How?
Yeah, big up, man. Big up Anthony Herbert as well. Big up, yeah. Did you like the videos I sent you? Not really, mate. No, I don't really want these videos where spiders are all of a sudden jumping at my face. You know, but I've been quite busy trying to set this up and trying to make sure this works, to be honest. But yeah, cheers for them anyway, mate. You know, it's always good to make me realise that I am actually still alive when I get frightened out of my fucking tits. But yeah, on to the next one. Everton 3, Bournemouth 0. I watched the highlights of it. Yeah, some good goals actually. That Jack Harrison goal on 37 was quality, and it was good to see James Garner get sorted as well. And then one from Abdullah Bouk. What's that fucking name? Abdullah Decore. Yeah, and nice to see Garner on the score sheet, because I do like Garner. Do you think that Everton are ready for Liverpool next game?
Probably not, to be honest, because it's just typical Everton against Liverpool. I mean, it's like it's a fiery fixture. It starts off fierce, you know, lots of tackles. Fans are hostile to each other. Is this one at Anfield or is this one at Goodison?
I think it's Anfield. I'm not sure. I'm not that prepared, mate, to be honest.
I'll tell you what, I mean, even if it's at Anfield, it's just like there's probably a little bit of optimism if you're an Everton fan, because it's like you've started stringing some good results along the way, because it looks like disaster settings at the start of the season, and it was just the case of finding your footing and getting something put together. And Sean Dyche has, by the looks of it, just about started to come good for Everton.
Yeah.
stringing these positive results, but also these multi-goal score lines. I mean, 3-0 against Bournemouth for Everton would be a statement win because Bournemouth are not
it
usually
is at Anfield, by the
team.
way.
Yeah, I'd say with beating Bournemouth, a team that usually they're quite hard to play against from time to time, a bit stubborn, sort of staying in the game a bit, you're making it difficult to break them down. Especially considering this is Everton we're talking about. If you're talking about like an Arsenal, Tottenham, or a Man City playing against Everton or playing against Bournemouth, you say, 3-0. So those teams, you think, well, that's a bit more routine. For Everton, it's not because of where they're coming from and where they're trying to get to. That's a much more respectable scoreline for them. And
I mean, I feel for Bournemouth though, mate. To be honest, I do feel for Bournemouth. I mean, they really seem to be struggling at the moment, but whether they'll actually sort of pull it back at some point, I don't know. Right, on to Chelsea and Burnley. I mean, I watched this one. Well, I didn't watch all of it, obviously, so I can't watch loads of games at the same time, unfortunately. I weren't, I'm not like an octopus with 8 eyes, although octopuses don't have 8 eyes. But anyway, it sounded good at the time. Right, anyway, so you got a goal from Burnley, which was a really well-worked goal, to be honest, by Odobert, and it was a good goal. Then Chelsea managed Sterling, who I thought played really well, looked really up for it on Saturday. He managed to get one it was a fluke, basically. He knocked it in and it hit the defender's leg and just went straight over the top of the goalkeeper. But you've got to do what you've got to do at the end of the day. And then I think just from that point, Chelsea just took over the old game. Penalty to Palmer. I didn't see the Dakhil goal, to be honest. I didn't watch it, but I forgot. And Nicholas Jackson, I thought, did really well to turn and get his shot off. What do you think? How do you think they're going to do with Arsenal? Do you think they're going to be brought back down to earth, or do you think they're going to actually bring Arsenal down to earth?
They're going to sink that invincible ship before it's even left the bloody harbour. To be honest, I think Burnley, it's one of those teams where Company likes to play this open style of football, and everyone's sort of catching on to it now, where it's going to be really like stubborn approach from Company is going to start costing Burnley big time. And it's probably going to send them straight back down if it's not something that gets fixed up real quick. You can't do that. You can't do that, can you, in the Premier League when you first come in? It is very much a championship themed style of football and suitable only against championship based teams, which is why perhaps they might get enough points against lower table teams to just about stay up, but it's going to be a really hairy run into the season. To the end of the season for them. But I think Chelsea definitely, you have to, as I say, you have to make your own luck sometimes. Maybe unfortunate with the own goal from Dakhil to get a response in the first half, and then after just ride that wave of momentum. And Cole Palmer, Raheem Sterling, Nicholas Jackson, but Cole Palmer, someone who I've taken quite a liking to with the Chelsea team. I like him. He's just this extra burst of energy, this fresh legs, fresh life in the sort of advanced middle positions. And the fact that Chelsea have scored 4 goals in a game, own goals or not, in I think over 2 years now, or somewhere around 2 years. It's been a long time coming for Chelsea, and I think now that they've had this sort of result, it's a massive confidence booster for that crop of players, and there's now some form of foundations to build upon there. So you've hit first base, now you go on to second base, third base, fourth base, keep building up from there.
Definitely.
They've got the tools to do it. They've not got the most ideal game to go on to next, which is Arsenal.
Well,
for them,
playing the Premier League champions, aren't they? Right. I mean, they've got to play the Premier League champions.
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
Like Carl
It's
Rossi says, of
thankfully-
course Chelsea get their shit together before they play us. Yeah, which is normally the same with us, whoever we play. Was surprised City sold him, actually. Yeah, I was, actually. I was
Yeah.
shocked they sold Cole Palmer, to be fair.
Mm.
Quite a weird one, that one was for me, because I thought he looked really decent. I think Chelsea's picked up a really good in there, and I think he'll do all right under Poch as well, because he likes younger players, don't he? Mind you, that sounds really bad now, but anyway, you know what I mean. But yeah, he likes to sort of work with younger players and sort of bring them through, and I think that'll actually work out in Chelsea's advantage. On to next, Fulham v Sheffield United. Sheffield United can just not get a break at all, can they? I mean, it's like they scored. Who was it scored first? Bobby Reed for Fulham. I mean, Fulham was knocking on the door like crazy. I mean, I did have the stats graphics as well, but they're on this other scene, so I can't put them up now. But they had no end of chances and stuff, and then Cordova Reed managed a great shot from the edge of the area, which was a really good goal. Then on to Wes Foderingham, who gets the own goal, which is a shame for him, but you know, it is what it is. And then Willian shows his class again and manages the 3-1. What do you think about Sheffield? Because there's so many teams in this league at the minute that certain teams just ain't having to worry because the other teams are just worse.
Yeah, it is Sheffield United. I think this takes us back to the summer transfer window where we're watching Sheffield United weakening themselves rather than strengthening themselves for a Premier League season by selling their better or their key players that were key to them in the Championship season to promotion rivals. And
definitely.
And it's like, well, you know, fail to prepare and prepare to fail. They started off a season looking quite resilient, but now that it's like they've almost already run out of steam.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Very, very preemptively, not showing that resiliency. Or losing that edge to your game, and in the Premier League, most teams will punish you for that.
Yeah,
Fulham, a team who themselves haven't had like the best starts to their Premier League campaign, especially after last season.
No,
this is a statement win for them, and for Sheffield United, it's problems that are just growing ever larger and becoming ever more prevalent, and it's. Sorry, but as soon as you got killed by Newcastle in your own backyard, I'm sorry, but you're on grounds to get killed for another 30 times this season.
Oh, mate, honestly, it's going to be long, innit? Season's going to be long for them. I can say that. I mean, and to be quite honest, I mean, it was long for us last season. We know what the struggle is. We know how much of a struggle it is to actually do all this. So, you know, we can sort of understand where it's what it's all about now, but I just don't see that digging thing with them like with us, because they're even like losing at home, which is we had the home form that we could always fall back on. Yeah, we lost 1 or 2, but you know, these are sort of losing every time at home, and if you can't get an home form in the Premier League, then you are in big trouble.
They didn't just lose at home as well either against Newcastle. They died. They absolutely got.
Oh, they got smashed up. Yeah, big time. Right, the game for me was the game of the weekend. I know some Arsenal fans probably won't like that, but I'm afraid your game was the most boring thing I've ever seen in life. To be honest with you. In fact, my life's more interesting than that game was, and that's saying something. Right, so basically, Man United, Brentford. Now, I was watching this, and I was in the chat with somebody who was, we're going to win it, this, that, and the other. And to be fair, it did look like they was going to win it 1-0 all the way till the end, and Brentford still had a few good chances, but still couldn't finish. They're seriously missing an Ivan Toney. That's becoming apparent right now. And then what can I say? Super Scott McTominay at the end, I can't knock him. I absolutely can't knock him. If he could do that every week, mate, it'd be 100 million worth. I mean, he just came on and he just owned it. I mean, there was that deflected shot that he put in, and then he gets the header at the end. I mean, that you must have been overjoyed, man, when you saw that.
Yeah. It's one of those sort of things where it's like, oh, just we're waiting for the embarrassment to set in when Brentford score in the first half, and it just felt like the game was passing us by, like we were just going through the motions. Oh, it's going to be another one of those stupid 1-0 losses, isn't it? Oh, it's just... And I suppose the weight of whichever outcome of the game would have been is if we'd lost that game, like the outrage would have been just off the charts, because everyone would just be like, well, that's it for the manager. And people were saying that it's not worth keeping a manager, even if it does repeat a vicious cycle with United, if a manager's lost the dressing room, and if he loses, then he's lost the dressing room.
Yeah.
Maybe that would have been the case because the players playing on the pitch looked like they didn't want it enough to get back into the game. But when the first goal was scored for Brentford, there's plenty of time to get that response.
Yeah.
Time to get back into the game. It's at home. You've got a crowd backing you. And it takes for a super sub to come on. And I think it happened even before McTominay was scoring goals. Like Anthony Martial had a goal ruled out for offside. So we had the ball in the back of the net. So it's like we left it so very, very late in the game.
Yeah.
And until we didn't have any CDMs on the pitch either, which is interesting because usually it's just a wind tunnel when there's no CDMs on the pitch. It's just a free run through. But that was when we were most dominant in the game. I thought you'd played some decent stuff, actually, to be fair. In that one, I didn't think... I thought you was sort of always on the cusp of getting something, but for McTominay, I mean, that's the kind of game where if you wish you'd have gone on Sky Bet and gone, I'm gonna have a tenner on McTominay 2 goals when he comes on, and the odds would have been like 600 billion to 1. You know, but there wouldn't have been that much. But if there was, I would have done it, to be fair, just for the sake of it. I'll tell you what, some lucky punters enjoying international football from the Bahamas or something with his feet kicked up after cashing out on that bet. But I'll tell you what, Scott McTominay must have been running some auditions for the Scottish national team, because that's where he seems to be only performing nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, oh wait, this isn't the Scottish national team. Fuck, I've already scored 2 goals.
Right, well, I mean, he's set himself a bar now, so he's got to keep reaching that bar.
Yeah.
Well, Carl Rossi says McTerminator, absolutely. The way he just banded through there was crazy. Such a garbage game that was. The goal summed up the game. I think that was the Arsenal City game. 100% kudos. It was... They need to sell it as a DVD as a cure for insomnia, because it very nearly sent me to sleep, to be fair. And Carl Rossi, Brentford can fucking use to missing Tony. He's better off to us. He's over to us the second that window opens. Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on there. And McTominay's casting on his seasonal performance. Oh, yeah, that's it. You're not getting anything else. That's it, mate. Yeah. Job done, mate. Job over. Right, moving on to the best team in the Premier League. I can't believe they didn't actually put Forest on there, the bastards. That's just ridiculous. It just says Nottingham. Right, okay, this game for me is probably the best game we've played this season, to be fair. Unfortunately, like Tottenham, we didn't even get the 1. We had some cracking efforts in this game. I don't know if you've seen the replay, or not the highlights, but the left foot rasper from Toffolo, which, Johnson on another day don't get it, but, it was kind of Forest against Johnston, to be honest. Yeah. Murillo did one of the best run-throughs I've seen from a centre-back. He just ran through everybody, and it was such a shame he didn't put that in, because I know it's early days, but I think that could have been goal of the season, especially up to now anyway. He looks class, mate. He really, he had a quality game before, and he had another quality game here. And then you've got Montiel, who was hitting volleys left, right, and centre. You got a ball over the top to Morgan Gibbs-White, who lobs it and unfortunately hits the post. I mean, on another day we should have hammered him, to be fair. But then you've got Mateta, who is absolutely open in the centre. Nobody around him, and bloody misses. I mean, what do you think? What do you think about how we're going? You know, how we're progressing, and what's happening with Forest at the minute?
I think there's some positive signs to take away, and I think the fact it is a trip to Selhurst Park, that's most people like to describe as a tough away day usually, because Selhurst Park most days is bouncing. Then Crystal Palace, with the way Roy Hodgson sets up his teams, usually will be difficult to beat, and most cases difficult to beat at home. And Nottingham Forest to sort of have an away day to Selhurst Park and look by far the better team between the two. Like, you had more control, like you knew what you were doing, you had the game plan all sort of figured out, and it was just really a case of being able to score that big chance. Obviously you probably wouldn't sit there and say, we expect a goals fest, but we'd sit there and say, based off of the chances that were delivered by each team, for me, Nottingham Forest would have been the deserved winners in that game. The better of the two teams' chances, but again, it comes down to if you can convert those chances, how clinical is your strike force. And we talk about teams at the top end of the table. You miss big chances, you won't score big goals, and then you won't win the titles. For teams elsewhere, it's maybe that's not scoring in this game might come back to haunt you by a points tally or a goals difference tally by the end of the season, because we never really know where exactly teams are going to finish.
No, well, you don't, but the good thing for us is there's teams there this season that are a hell of a lot worse than we are. Well, so far anyway.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah, I suppose with this season, if it's, the biggest positive is that Nottingham Forest go away to a tough ground for them and look by far the better team and look like that there's something to work with there. So where last season your resounding
away performance was shy, mate.
Away, obviously you're not really there to pick up points. You're not expecting to pick up points, but now you're sort of starting with something where it's like, well, if we perform this well, if we do this well, then I guess we can go away and pick up some big points away from home, rather than staying, solely reliant on home form and having a fortress for a home ground, and having some away points accumulations to add to a strong home record can only mean progression for Nottingham Forest this season compared to last.
I'll be honest, mate. I'll be absolutely honest, and this ain't just like jumping the gun or whatever like that. I think we're on to good things. I think we're building a really good side. I think we're pulling in players that I don't know why the big teams don't notice them, or whether they don't want to take a chance on them or whatever. But I think we're building a really good side. Murillo, Aina, they're just good players. Sangori's looking brilliant. He's really starting to look good. Dominguez, just absolute class. I think if a 1-year was on Saturday, then we probably would have scored. But I would definitely say watch out for us, because I think things are going to get interesting for us, to be honest. And it's about bloody time, because it's 23 bloody years since we've been in this division, so it's about time we started showing up. And so as much as I want to keep talking about Forest, I won't. Wolves won, Aston Villa won. This was on the Sunday. And basically, I watched it. The goal again was made by Pedro Neto. I cannot see Pedro Neto being there in January, mate, to be quite honest with you. Lamina gets sent off, which I thought was a bit weak, to be honest with you, but you know, it is what it is. I don't know if he already got a yellow or if it was a straight red. It weren't. If that's a straight red, then Kovacic is a straight red. Let's put it that way. Paulo Torres scores his first goal for Aston Villa, which was a cracking goal. Just going to catch the chat because I missed start saying it. You look decent, all right in the game. Get your finishing sorted, and you should be safe this season. Spot on, Cole. Spot on. Kudos. Forest needs to start pushing forward. You're not getting relegated anytime soon. Yeah, 100% kudos. Cheers for that, man. I wanted Sangari at Tottenham. Yeah, I'm surprised that we got someone like Sangari. I thought he would have been somebody on an Arsenal hit list, or you know what I mean. Definitely Arsenal, possibly Liverpool. So I'm quite happy that we got him, and we left it right till last minute as well, which was annoying. Anyway, on to Wolves, Aston Villa. Villa's a weird one for me. I mean, what's his name? Had a cracking shot. The Scottish dude? What's his name? I forgot his name. McGinn, that's it. He had a cracking strike from way out that just shaped the post pretty much. It was beautiful. Would have been a beautiful goal. But Villa's a weird one for me, man. Smashing Brighton last week, and then they seem like one of them teams that's going to get a win and then a draw and then a win. I mean, if you keep doing that, I mean, it's not bad form, is it really? But yeah, it's better than losing. But I don't know. What do you think about Villa and Wolves?
Yeah. I mean, Villa is a bit of a strange one because it's like they've shown the best side of them, but they've also shown their worst side of them, and they've generally shown them in extremities. I think with this one, it's a bit more down the middle, but it's one of those where it's like Aston Villa. If it's prime Unai Emery, what do we talk about with Unai Emery? Maybe it's a bit like with Villarreal as such, like cup-based team as opposed to having specialties in the league. Maybe just about getting into qualification for European competitions. I think if you're Aston Villa, you'll be quite happy or quite pleased with that to have consistent European qualifications. And if you've got Unai Emery doing that for you, then I suppose you don't really have many complaints. But just the way in which that Aston Villa have come around attaining results, it's quite peculiar with the way in which it sort of goes from extremities to extremities. I mean, their last loss against Liverpool was 3-0. They looked like they got battered in that one. They then played Crystal Palace, beat them 3-1. Then they beat Chelsea away 1-0. That could have gone either way. Then they absolutely palmed Brighton 6-1. And then the very next week, go against a Wolves team that tends to struggle here and there. Though themselves have come off the back of beating Manchester City 2-1, which
true
is an odd. It's quite an odd sort of result to pick up for Wolves. But I think Wolves team struggling. I think they'll be happier to get a point against Aston Villa than I would say vice versa. Because Aston Villa look at where they are in the table, and you would assume, right, so as Wolverhampton Wanderers at home, or away from home, that should be a 3-pointer for Aston Villa. You can't take many things for granted in the Premier League. Aston Villa,
can't.
The sort of the foundations that they've been setting, considering that their last Premier League outing was against Brighton and destroyed them 6-1. You would have said, right, so surely that pretty much just writes into us being whoever it is we play next, because that surely you just carry on from where you left off. Surely there's that sort of feeling in the camp, but for some reason, it's just Wolves they open the scoring in the second half, and Pau Torres with a quick reply, and then it's just sort of a bit more favourable in Aston Villa's control. Aside from that,
Well, everybody has a little bit of a blippy type of thing, which I suppose, I mean, it's away from home, and that manager that Wolves have got seems to have something about him or whatever. So, Kudos says, would love Neto. Angie's looking for a winger. Yeah, because Brendan Johnson's out in here. How long's he out for, do you know? I mean, I don't think he ever really got injured for us, but I don't know how long he's out. Carl Rossi says, the big teams don't like taking chances anymore on players who are relatively unknown. Martinelli was the last one we signed, even. Yeah, well, that chance worked out. It was amazing the other day. But yeah, I think that's it. What will happen is we'll get these players in, and other teams will get these players in, and then the bigger teams will just come in and go, yep, we'll have him. We'll have him. We'll have him. And then we'll all be left getting relegated all the time. But anyway. Big up, E-By, Tony Claude Gunner. Po, mate. How you doing? Straight from the cave. Smash the lights, people. Yeah, you can do. That'd be awesome. Kudos, not sure. I think he's back pretty soon. He don't normally get injured for that long, to be fair. And then Tony Clark Gunner saying, big up to everybody. Big up to everybody in this chat. This is like the first episode of this show. Hope everyone's enjoying it, because it's nice to do these kind of rundowns, because I love my football, even though I'm a Forest fan. That didn't sound right, did it? It sounded like we don't play football, and that's what I don't know what that meant. But anyway, so on to West Ham, Newcastle. Yeah. Isaac with a double. He was on it big time. Could have had a hat-trick, to be fair. West Ham, don't even count them out at the minute. I mean, that Souček goal was great, and the Kudos one at the end. But one thing I did notice about that game is the midfield was nowhere for either of them. They were just... They were both just going straight through each other. It was a good game. It was end to end.
Yeah.
But they were just going through each other. There was nobody stopping anything. Gimmer Rice, for me, was very lucky not to get sent off. Having just done that foul for a yellow card, and then doing another one straight after, is very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. But I mean, I like Gimmer Rice, but that's not the point. I mean, if you do the fouls, then you're in trouble. But West Ham, for me, I mean, I thought Newcastle had battered them, to be fair. After battering PSG, and you can't say it's a battering because it's 4-1, which to me is the result of the week, 100%. Yeah. And, and West Ham just look like they've got something to offer here as well. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like where David Moyes is taking this West Ham team. Because most times that we've spoken about West Ham through down the years, it's been sort of West Ham, they might get relegated, they might be in trouble, and the constant dissatisfaction with their chiefs at their club, and fair plays to West Ham and David Moyes especially for building a new project. A couple of stars coming through, selling them on. Obviously, Declan Rice being someone in their midfield that has gone on to, at least we'd assume bigger and better things. Although he's not going to win a European trophy at Arsenal, but for me, David Moyes is he's coping well with West Ham. I think he had a first stint that didn't go so well, but now this time, having a second bite at the cherry, seems to have found some form of process or project that he's built at West Ham, and it's
they're not looking too bad. Say they lost their main man, are they?
Yeah, and making themselves relatively hard to beat, but having an ever-present threat going forwards. Despite it's kind of like the same sort of credit that we'd give to Brighton. Outside of stylish football, like the conversations is that Brighton they've constantly got a threat going forwards. That sometimes can be hard to beat. Obviously, they're a bit easier to beat this season because I mean, look at some of the score lines that they've had and the amount of goals they've conceded. But Aston Villa, West Ham, they, proving to be quite a solid Premier League outfit, and it's not going to be easy going to West Ham United Stadium for this season. As far as Newcastle are concerned,
I'm
surprising.
waiting for that big surge of Newcastle where they start
Yeah.
to take over. I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
I can just see it. I can just see it coming.
There is a feeling about Newcastle where it's like they are just about on the horizon before they, you start to see them really begin any sort of domination.
Yeah.
And I suppose they're not too far away. I think it's like they've built somewhat of a mentality to feel like they are a big team, they're a proper big club, that they are like up there with the Arsenals, Man Cities, Liverpool's, all about have that sort of feeling in the camp, and the way in which they handle their business sometimes feels like they've got that air of confidence about
Yeah.
it. But then perhaps
one or two signings away, I think.
Yeah, I think some of the results perhaps is still a bit like you're not quite.
Yeah,
good,
not
but
quite,
you're not quite there yet.
Not as good as Man United yet.
Oh Christ Almighty! That's going the other way, mate. That's going the other way. But
sorry, mate, I couldn't resist that.
It's like you've got all the massive positives with beating PSG in a really
that's huge,
fashion, like a really convincing win over PSG, to then go to West Ham away and get pegged back to a dross. I think Newcastle look at it more like a loss than a draw. They say, well, we've lost 2 points as opposed to gaining 1. And that's probably the mood that's going to be in the Newcastle camp, especially coming down from the high of beating PSG midweek, to then having to settle for...
because they need to get away from this being a draw team, don't they, really? They've got to get away from that and actually be the team that's winning. But like I say, that Isaac chance, man, I mean, it was so close to being a hat-trick, and, and then it might have been completely different in that respect. Mama Flossie says, Toon, absolutely, away the lads. And Tony Claude Gunner says, I'm enjoying the show, man. Thanks, Tony Claude. Big up to you. Make sure you follow Tony Claude Gunner TV. Anthony Herbert says, big up HotFuzz. Make sure you follow Anthony Herbert TV. No, I don't think it's Anthony Herbert TV, is it? Is it Football United or something? Make sure you follow Anthony Herbert anyway. Drop your link in the chat, Anthony Herbert, because I'm a retard and I can't think what it is. Right, so big Tony Claude, you're cooking. Big up to you, mate. Yeah, absolutely he is. Carl Rossi backing a few people. My large ass dog is demanding dinner. He weighs almost the same as me, so I have to oblige. Yeah, I get that, mate. Kudos made some very good signings, have they, West Ham? Yeah, absolutely. There was a ball from Paqueta, which was just beautiful, and it should have been finished off by Antonio, but it wasn't. Almost won a trophy recently. Yeah. And Mama Flossie, Football United TV. Yeah, so Anthony Herbert is Football United TV. So make sure you get over there and make sure you share to make sure you subscribe to Anthony Herbert and also Tony Claude Gunner. Both do absolute awesome content. Right, okay, so now we're on to It's Not My Fault, and we're always getting picked on, we are. I think you can guess who I mean.
Replays.
Yeah, we want to replay. We want to replay the World Cup as well, when Maradona handballed it and all that kind of stuff. Then, everything will be good then. Right, okay. Please don't replay the Arsenal-Man City game. I could not sit through that again. Please don't. Right, okay, so you got Brighton and Liverpool, yeah? I didn't watch this because I think I was on Tony Warren's stream, another one to make sure you subscribe to, Tony Warren's TV, absolutely awesome. And so basically, first goal, Sammy Adingra, cracking goal as well. Simon, did I say Sally? I think I said Sally, didn't I? No, we're not doing women's football. Simon Adingra even. Cracking goal. I know it was a cracking goal. I forgot what it was, but it was a cracking goal. And then obviously Mohamed Salah gets a penalty, and then Mohamed Salah finishes off his chance really well. McAllister, I think, gets his normal yellow card as pretty bloody normal as he does all the time, but they're playing him too far back, in my opinion, and it's just not his game. One thing I want to say about West Ham is you could see that moving Souček up further than what he normally is seems to be paying dividends as well. He's scoring a bit, and then Lewis Dunk gets a header to make it 2-2, and from what I saw, Brighton could possibly have taken that, but it's 2-2, so Liverpool's happy. They still want a replay. I still want to get in a rocket and go to the moon, and that ain't happening either. So what do you think?
I want a replay because Lewis Dunk slam dunked us in the second half and we didn't win the game. I want replay.
Yeah, we want replays.
Yeah.
This is why people hate their fans, man.
This is why they're so insufferable. And if they were just down to earth with it, we'd be much more sympathetic to them. But they like to dig their own graves. But as far as the game is concerned, I mean, Brighton perhaps made.
Take care, Mama.
Be up to you, Mama. Good to see you. I think Brighton made a few meals out of various moments in the game. Henceforth, Liverpool scoring a couple of the goals they did. I think obviously penalty being one of them. I think most of what Brighton did this game was good. Adingra's goal. Lovely goal, fantastic goal.
Looks a good one, doesn't he?
Well, it's probably it's like Enciso, isn't it? Like just out of nowhere, you sell off half of your squad, and out of nowhere you got these players you just never heard of before, and they look sick. But just typical Brighton that. But
yeah,
the game is something that I watched on the Sunday. Obviously, I was quite busy on that Sunday, but. It was actually quite an interesting spectacle because it's like these two sort of fancy football playing sides. You've got heavy metal football on one side, and you've got deserby hipster style on the other.
Yeah.
Mohamed Salah just being typical Mohamed Salah, it would seem, and I suppose Alexis McAllister playing this deeper midfield role as he's shown. A couple of times this game.
He don't look right. He don't look right to me, mate. Playing there.
It's like to me they're missing the Fabinho type role player in their team. They're missing the actual anchor.
Well, they got Bellendo, haven't they?
Bellendo that can't make.
I mean, nobody's ever actually even heard of him. I thought it was us that signed players nobody's actually heard of, but Liverpool then come in and outshine us on someone nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
This show's definitely going to be hated by Liverpool by the end of the first episode.
That'd be good.
We want to replay.
Someone will start crying replay in your comments section, but then they realise it's not talking about a football game, they're just talking about a stream.
Oh, love it.
But Liverpool, and I guess I said this with my my chill stream with last night about Liverpool. Is that their overhaul for their midfield? I think there's quite a few Liverpool supporters that are probably being a bit too sort of relaxed or too happy that they finished the summer transfer window having only signed one CDM to essentially replace an entire spine, and they haven't really signed a spine. They haven't built a spine. They've built
Seemed to panic buy, mate, to be honest, after a bit.
Yeah, they've signed the flashy stuff, like Alexis McAllister, cool, fantastic. You sign a depth player to his position in Ryan Gravenberch. Cool, so you've got some rotation there. Who's playing a number 6? We'll play McAllister there. But that's not how that works. It's like, with Brighton, McAllister would play with Caicedo.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're absolutely spot on.
Doing the defensive work. So even with Brighton, a team that was plays quite overexposed football most of the times, McAllister isn't in the firing line and having to dictate the whole flow of the game.
Nope.
it's like, cool, he's got some good passing range to him, but what about everything else?
Yeah,
It's like he needs someone
absolutely.
like that Caicedo, where then McAllister can move forwards and have better impact in more key areas where he is more specialised in.
Yeah.
And like having some form of a goal threat as well. Like McAllister's got a bit of a goal threat, but he's
Yeah.
playing further away from the goal rather than closer to it. So
Well, it's madness, mate, to be honest. I mean, I understand, you buy players to put them in the positions that they're good at. Like you buy Havertz to put him in a position he's good at, which is probably in the middle of the Pacific Ocean with all the sharks and things like that. He'd probably still miss them as well. But, so it just, I don't understand the McAllister thing. I think he's been totally wasted, personally. Right, on to the biggest ball fest of the weekend. Big up, oh no, I've got the wrong one. We know what the score was anyway. Right, so Drew Gunners, big up my dude. How you doing, pal? Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in. And so Arsenal Man City. Right, okay. Let's get to grips with this. I mean, I was so bored watching this game. It was a defensive masterclass from both of them, I think.
yeah.
They both played well in that respect. It wasn't a game for a neutral. It was a game only a fan could love. When they say about a person who's really ugly and they say he's got a face only a mum could love. Yeah, well, this is a game only a fan could love, to be fair.
Yeah.
And there was pressing, getting themselves involved, but there was nothing really going on up front for either of them. I personally thought they should have pressed Raya a hell of a lot more than they did, because there was one or two times where they could have actually scored. Do Arsenal look like a team that could go on and win the league? I don't think so. Don't think they've got the strength, unfortunately. I think a few more key players out, and it's going to be, because a lot's going to be put on Martinelli now. And if he goes out, it's just a bit of a nightmare. I've never seen two teams that's at the top of the league having such lack of depth in Spurs and Arsenal. They both, with injuries, can be just destroyed straight away. But anyway, getting back onto it, the substitution, something we don't say very often about Arteta, was masterclass, to be honest. I mean, we knew Havertz was coming on, Tomiyasu, Partey, Martinelli. Partey was amazing in the midfield, like I think everybody had said. I mean, anybody could have called that first 11 for Arsenal from the very beginning of the season. The only person that didn't seem to get it was Arteta, who's the actual manager. I mean, Partey puts the ball over the top. Martinelli comes on, gets a left foot shot straight to Ederson. Unfortunate, but you could see he was totally on it. And then basically Partey, ball over the top to Havertz. You think Havertz is going to fuck it up by trying to get a goal himself. Doesn't. Passes it to Martinelli. Martinelli smacks it. What's his name? Ake gets a black eye, and the ball hits his head. And basically goes in the net. It was a really fluky goal, but at the end of the day, 3 points is 3 points. What do you think? Are we looking at the Premier League champions, or are we looking at the bottlers of 2024?
No, we're not just looking at the Premier League champions, Yeti. We're looking at the next Invincibles Premier League season. We're looking. They're literally going to be like, have you got 2 ones that are gold? Have you got 2 titles that are gold?
Is yours gold? Is yours gold, Mr. Grimsdale?
Crikey, but oh my goodness me. But there's one thing that in all of this that is just, it doesn't sit right with me, is Man City. Now, I'm not any manager. Man City with 4 attempts in a game does not sound right. Sounds problematic.
It's weird, isn't it? They're not on it, are they?
This is Pep Guardiola's Man City. Usually they're dominant. Usually they create lots of chances because of where their average positioning up the pitch.
Is Rodri that bigger player to actually make a difference in that game, do you think? I mean, he is, don't get me wrong, he is good and he does make a big difference.
I feel he is definitely sorely missed, but there's one thing that I can't seem to, like, this is Man City we're talking about, where people comment on Man City having superstars in every position and their bench is so good that even their bench can go win a Premier League title. But
Yeah.
what this has proven to us is that that's not true.
Mm.
That theory about Man City's bench is good enough to win the league is just complete false. It's just clutching at straws
Yeah.
to just write off everybody else. But Manchester City, they lose a key player. For me, I think Pep Guardiola's approach tactically is probably not quite like found the way in which to get around absentees in Rodri, because it feels like he's transitioned to being more defensive as opposed to offensive as far as how he sets up his teams. And I feel like Manchester City probably deservedly lose this game, in my opinion. But the way in which it came around with a lucky shot. But as I've said already on the stream, you do have to make your own luck. So if you don't try, you'll never know. So Martinelli tried, and he got. He
looked amazing, mate, when he came on.
So
he actually woke me up when he came on.
Yeah, and Thomas Partey as well. I mean, Partey's been a big miss in the midfield departments. Obviously, it's quite grand when you get to witness Thomas Partey playing in a midfield and not at right back, Mikel Arteta. It's so that's going to do them quite a few solid favours going forwards, as long as Arteta doesn't decide to start Partey next game against Chelsea at right back again, because then otherwise he's back in the doghouse for me. But
actually, I think he was properly drilled, mate, to be honest, because I mean, you look at Doku. I mean, as soon as Doku come on, I thought, oh, you're going to struggle now, because I've seen him. He drops a shoulder and he'd be ram white. And I tell you what, the way they actually dealt with Doku, Zinchenko, I mean, the way they actually dealt with Doku was excellent. I mean, after you seen him up against Zinchenko, and you were thinking he's going to get megged again. He's going to get megged again. And the way they dealt with him was absolute class, in my opinion. And like I say, you could see they were well drilled. As soon as Doku came on, they knew exactly how to deal with him. Yeah. So I think Pep's got to. I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. They're still going to go and win the league. I mean, I don't think anybody's getting to the point where, like, they're finished. Man City are finished, and all this, that, and the other. Absolute rubbish. If you think that, and you're going to play your games thinking that against them, then good luck to you, because you're going to enjoy seeing a lot of goals, but unfortunately they're not going to be for you.
Well, I made this comparison. It's like Manchester City and the Manchester derby against us at Old Trafford last season. That was at a height of a crisis for Manchester City, where Haaland wasn't getting any chances. City weren't creating anything. That City team that we beat ended up going on to win a treble that season. So it's like I've said it, like, it's not panic stations for Manchester City. It's a dip in form, but there are some issues there that you would say, well, if they had this player, if they had that player, and two big misses for them that I don't think they've replaced properly is that of Gundogan in the midfield.
Yeah.
And Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side. And they are those two players, I think, are big misses for Manchester City. I know they signed Jeremy Doku for their wide positions. So, quite a raw talent, quite someone who likes to be a bit more trickery based. Drive the ball at players. It looks a bit more raw talent, untapped talent, I think. And Kovacic in the midfield, I mean, not really the same player as Gundogan. I mean, Gundogan made things tick by the looks of it towards sort of mid to late stages for the season for Manchester City, and he probably would have or could have made a difference, especially when De Bruyne is out and Rodri's out. Having Gundogan as a presence in midfield, cool, you had Bernardo Silva back. Maybe even
he didn't look that much on it to me, Bernardo Silva. You could tell he'd not been playing that much.
I mean, John Stones as well. I mean, if John Stones was John Stones available for that game, I just want to double
He
check.
came on. He's a substitute, wasn't he? He came on later on, so he might have
Yeah.
just been getting over something or whatever.
Yeah,
One thing. Kudos in the chat says we're going to win the league. I assume. I think he's a Spurs fan, so yeah, best of luck with that one, mate. And Carl Rossi, it was a very poor City performance, regardless of KDB and Rodri's absence. But we did just about what we had to do. Standout performers, Saliba and Rice. Absolutely spot on. No can we fuck? That's from Drew. That's the Invincibles and winning the league, I would imagine. Carl Rossi, Party gets the team ticking more. Shamey became injury prone since joining. Oh, and the AFCON takes him away yet again. Yeah, I mean, that's a weird one, isn't it? He's probably going to get injured there again, mate. Drew Gunners, Invincibles, turn it in. Whoever said that, I want the number of their weed dealer. Yeah, I think you're probably right there. Kiddos, City's bench used to be good enough to win most competitions, not anymore. Now, he's bought a few that on up to standard, hasn't he, really? Anthony at Man City should have been down to 10 men, and I want to see Ramsdale in goal and Rare on the bench, if I'm honest. It should have been down to 10 men. That to me is a straight red, 100%. He was looking like Bernardo Bronze, yeah. No, I was imitating an Arsenal fan. Okay, mate. Yeah, okay, mate, I get that. But yeah, the one about Ramsdale, I don't. You know what? I can't understand that. I can't understand why Ray was shaky, because didn't Brentford beat Man City with Ray in goal? So that one was a bit weird to me. I mean, he's in a bigger team at the minute, to be honest. So yeah, he probably understands.
Bigger team, bigger shirt, and sometimes that does play on players when you are playing in for a bigger club. It's like with what I talk about with the goalkeeping situation at Manchester United. You know, the shirt and the occasion at Old Trafford tends to swallow a lot of goalkeepers up.
Yeah.
With Raya, I think it's because Brentford perhaps don't play the same sort of pass out from the back style that Arsenal do.
Yeah.
Usually you invite the pressure on if you are an Arsenal team and you play through that pressure. But Raya's probably used to when the pressure's too much, you stop to go long, and you've got the target man in Tony and other players further up the pitch.
It is a full Emirates as well, which, to be quite honest, I was quite shocked how quiet he was, to be fair. I thought, you should have been proper behind your team, trying to push them on. Odegaard, for me, tries to get the crowd up when he's not playing very well. I've noticed it a few times. In my opinion, Rice should have the captaincy. He was quality. He was all over the place. He actually managed to get one off the line. Question for you, though, Fuzz. Anthony said, Ramsdale or Raya for you from now on?
Ramsdale or Raya? I mean, I suppose it's the question as to why Raya was signed or what he was signed for. Because I think if Raya is closer to what Arteta wants from a goalkeeper as far as play style is concerned, then maybe it's just a case you have to be a bit patient with Raya, just to sort of bed him in and get him into the swing of things.
Yeah.
Whereas Ramsdale, I think it's just a sort of thing where you're more familiar with him. You're more familiar with him. Being more comfortable with his saves. I know that the issues with playing out from the back is a common problem nowadays. It's becoming more of a common problem where a goalkeeper he's a ball-playing goalkeeper, and then he ends up passing straight to an opposition player, and he's like an arm.
Yeah.
Doing the same things as well. It's literally the modern day system seems to be screwing up things for a goalkeeper regardless. And I think
the thing is, I'm going to give Raya a bit of respect here as well. Some of them passes that was played to him was ridiculous. I mean, the City player was pretty much right next to him at the time that they was playing it back to him. So, or he was fat, or he was in a position where he could actually get to Raya before he could actually kick it. So, I mean, I'd put some blame on that as well. And to be quite honest, somebody said yesterday, Ramsdale can panic and just kick it straight at the opposition as well. So, I mean, they're both the same in that respect. I personally, I'm not an Arsenal fan, so it makes no difference to me. But personally, I would stick with Raya. Raya. I mean, the thing is, where Forest are concerned, Turner does some stupid punch-outs into the box, which I don't like. I would 100% try that Greek goalkeeper and try and chuck him in. I like Turner, don't get me wrong, but that where he tries to save it and just like, I mean, Jesus, even Nketiah would score against him if he's doing that. Well, he probably wouldn't, probably miss and kick himself in the face knowing him. But you know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Ramsdale or Raya. I don't know. I don't have to make the decision. So
for me, I would say just for the sake of, you know, we'll play to Arteta's tune. Stick with Raya, and see, yeah, give him a run of games.
That's what he does, though, innit? He don't just go on a whim. You know, he don't just go on a people are saying things about Raya, so that's it. He's coming out of the net.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a while for Raya to actually get in the net, so I think Raya will actually stay in. And if that's the way they want to play from out the back, then Raya is the man at the end of the day. Carl Rossi says there's too much focus on this Ramsdale versus Raya debacle. They are both good. Raya's getting the run out needed to see he can cut it. Other than the shaky start, I've preferred him so far. Yeah, fair enough, man. I mean, you know, he is a good shot stopper and everything like that. But like I say, if you look at the passes, mate, they are a bit hospital type passes to him. He just took a little bit too long on him. I mean, and you look at Onana. I mean, he's brilliant on the ball, but he's looks like a shit goalkeeper. Because I mean, that Brentford shot, I mean, that should never be going in, man.
No.
He should have got more on that, shouldn't he?
Yeah,
definitely.
I guess it's perhaps a lack in confidence as well.
Yeah.
If you're not certain as a goalkeeper, you're not as decisive, and your commitment to your reaction to like facing a shot is not as solid. So if you're not confident when the shot comes towards you, you might not have a strong hand. Your hand might just go like that and the ball goes past you. Whereas if you this is definitely, you've got stronger hands to it. So for me, it's probably that Onana's experiencing confidence issues. And maybe if there's goalkeepers out there that have got this issue of, letting in easy shots, it's probably because they're not feeling, completely certain of what it is that they want to do when faced with the situation. But once they've got the run of game going,
I'm just going to the toilet, mate. Take over.
Yeah, but once they've got the run of games going, and I think this is relevant to the Raya topic of conversation, because it's like Raya, if you stick Raya back on the bench now because we had a shaky game against Manchester City. Even though he kept a clean sheet, he didn't concede any goals to Manchester City. I think the people that were saying, "Oh, Ramsdale's not cut out for it. Oh, he's he looks shaky. He doesn't look with it." Raya comes in, looks better, but then has a shaky game. It's like, "Oh, we want Ramsdale back in." Well, you can't really have the situation of beggars can't be choosers. What you need is just, let's see how Raya cuts with it. Like how does he hang with it after 5 games, 10 games? If it is where it becomes a common theme where you've got problems that seem to be centric around a goalkeeper, where there's just week in, week out problem after problem after problem, like similar to what Onana's experiencing, where pretty much week in, week out problems in the game. We concede a goal, or some silly chance gets given away because of the goalkeeper, then you would start to say, well, we should probably revert back to a different goalkeeper. But because of 1 or 2 shaky games, I wouldn't be jumping the gun on that just yet. I would want to give him a little bit of time and a little bit of patience to see how he
that's it, innit? But I mean, I do agree with what Anthony Herbert said, though. But Kudos said your defence is in trouble and Honor in the room. Yeah, 100%.
My defence is in trouble. My goalkeeper is Sandra.
Carl Rossi says, I'd almost guarantee if Ramsdale wasn't English, the media wouldn't be talking about it at all. Yeah, more than likely. Yeah, you're probably right. Facts on that by Kudos. Anthony Herbert, mistake rare made in the Champions League game against Lens, and also Man City should have been 3-0 up in the first 25 minutes with Riot. I was fuming, but put the dam for my beer was knocked over. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, if you've had 2 games and made 2 howlers, then yeah, maybe it might be time to either say, dude, you need to calm your shit down, or, you know, I'm going to have to, might have to put Ramsdale in. Carl Rossi, smash the likes to subscribe. People also sub to HotFuzz. Absolute sound lad he is. Yeah, cheers, guys. Smash the likes and everything. Right, okay, so this is going to be another part of the show, yeah. I'm not going to do every game from next week because it'll just take too long. So I'm just going to do our own games and people in the chat who are in the chat. So first of all, Forest Luton. At the City Ground, I think we can win this. We can win this, and we should win it quite handsomely as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if Adebayo doesn't start, missing sitters again,
knowing our luck, he'll probably get them on target this time.
So, he'll probably end up getting a hat-trick now, and it's a wonder strike every time. But for me, this is Nottingham Forest games to lose. I agree. I'd say this one should be probably one of your more convincing home wins.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and to me, Forest, I'd be looking at that as like a 3-0 sort of game. I don't know about Luton.
I'd be honest, mate. I'd want that one to be a battering, to be quite honest with you, because we're starting to get the forward line sorted and stuff, and for them to all bag a few goals each would be massive for us going forward. Carl Rossi says Forest better win that one, 1-0 Forest. Yeah, I'm expecting a bit more than that. Drew Gunners 3-1. Yeah, I'm expecting more than that, to be honest. I'm expecting to absolutely slap them up, to be fair. But we'll see, I suppose. No Mama Flossie, but Newcastle, Crystal Palace, another one really that I would expect Newcastle being at home to actually smash Palace.
Yeah.
What would you think?
I'll probably say a 3-1 sort of scoreline for that one. I think maybe Newcastle might have a moment in the game where it's a lapse of concentration, maybe from a set piece or something, that Palace can get a goal, but that probably be just it with consolation prize. But I mean, Newcastle, that again, that's their game to lose. It's at St James's Park. Place is going to be rocking, as it seems to be pretty much every home game. And Palace, they've got their work cut out for them, and I don't think they're going to they're not going to have much joy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, then you got Chelsea, Arsenal. I mean, I think it's Arsenal's. I don't think Chelsea's quite on it at the moment, and Saka possibly be back as well. So Saka and Martinelli, I mean, I think it could be a tough day for Chelsea, to be honest. Although they are at Stamford Bridge, not that means anything. I mean, we beat them there. So what do you think on that one?
I suppose it's an interesting one, because Chelsea, if they seek to do what they've done against Burnley and try to replicate that, I mean, it's not the same thing as playing at the Emirates, where it's like if you try to play open, attacking football, you'll probably get slapped left, right, and centre at the Emirates. But I mean, at Stamford Bridge, I mean, Arsenal, again, it's like, look at them against Man City, not this prolific goal-scoring team. Had to
yeah.
Bit. I think this game might be quite dependent on which team establishes control the most and sort of can keep things calm and sort of under.
Yeah, I think it could be a good one, mate, to be honest with you. I mean, Carl Ross is saying that I'm just realising I've got a gig booked Saturday when we play Chelsea. I'm fucking raging. Oh, so Carl Ross is a flip-flop then. Prefers going to gigs instead of watching his team. All right, we get it, mate. We get it. Kudos, where's Tottenham Yeti? It's on the next screen, mate. I'll be having that one up in a minute. Newcastle 3-0. Palace got 11 injuries in total. Wow, that is some serious injuries, that is. Rossi 2-3, Palace 1. Drew Gunners 1-1 and 2-0 Arsenal. 2-0 Arsenal for Anthony Herbert. Rossi, I'm not confident, but also I have no idea what Chelsea show up. Well, this is it, isn't it? This just depends, really. They probably could have done without the international break, to be fair. Arsenal should be winning this, yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm an absolute shambles, mate, from Cole Rossi. No, you just say flip-flop, mate. It's all good. Right, on to the next. Sheffield United against Manchester United. I mean, for me, mate, this has got 8-0 Sheffield United written all over it.
We're up against another United team. This time we will return the
there'll be plenty of banana skins in this one.
I see what you did there. Just quickly on the Chelsea Arsenal game, I'll be a bit of a. I'll make things a bit more interesting. I'll say Chelsea win their game 2-1 against Arsenal.
Yeah.
A bit of a method to my madness with that one, but Sheffield United against Manchester United, it's like this is the reason why we can't have nice things as United. this Manchester United, I mean, every game is like, oh, this has got United win written all over it. It's like, but
can't really say. You can never say that, can you? To be honest.
When you realise what two Uniteds it is that are playing, it's like Sheffield United and Manchester United. Oh, now we really don't know which United's going to win because it's such a written in the stars kind of game where it's like, it should like if you were to draw it up on paper, you'd say, well, United should take this one like 3-0. Like 3-0 to Man United, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it, isn't it? I mean, are you going to get McTominay or McTominay?
We're going to get Scotland's McTominay. We're going to get the Milky Bar kid stuck on the wrapping paper. I mean, God only knows what's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of people talking about, drop Casemiro. Like, he's had absolutely shambolic performances pretty much every game, barring the Palace game in the EFL Cup. But I mean,
yeah, but I mean, he's a winner, mate. He's a winner, so I mean, there's something like not right at United if that's the case.
For me, I can be more confident if I look at a team sheet and I see that the team makes sense and it's got a balance to it. Like, and I suppose it's probably that's what we're riding on right now as United fans.
Yeah.
It's not looking at the game itself, but looking at what team the manager chooses, what starting 11 he picks, and then the substitutions he makes throughout the game. That's what we're judging what our predictions for our games are going to be based on. So it's like my more accurate prediction would come 1 hour before kickoff.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. I mean, Carl Rossi says 1-1. Anthony Herbert says 12-0 Sheffield United. Kudos says Onana. And I think that's the Rihanna song, is it? Is it not? I don't know. I'm a metalhead, so I don't know Rihanna. Well, I do know her, but all I know is she shoves an umbrella up herself, but that's me cancelled. Anyway. Right, Drew Gunners says 1-0 Sheffield. Kudos says 1-0 Sheffield, and Arna mistrapping the ball and it going into his own bloody net. Yeah, that's very possible. Right, on to the other games. So basically, Tottenham-Fulham. Now, I mean, that should, if Tottenham are serious about being top of the league, then that should be a win for Tottenham, shouldn't it?
Yeah. I know that they've not got the most clinical players, but for me, clinicality aside, this is a this is more closer to a routine sort of game for Tottenham, like 2-0, just easy as you like sort of game. I know Fulham struggles and whatnot. They've beaten their previous opponents, cool. But this is Tottenham away, and you're up against a team that they'll probably go into this game probably not top of the table, to be fair.
Yeah.
Not top anymore, but they'll probably
no.
Let's go win this game and let's get back on top and something along those lines. And I suppose maybe they would want to
could push it a little bit too much and get one of these injuries that could, derail it altogether.
Possibly. I mean,
just to get back to the top spot.
Or it could be another one of those sorts of games where maybe the luck that they got with the Luton game, maybe this game could be one of those where they make all of the fancy passings, their shots aren't on target, and their luck runs out and Fulham score a winner or something. But
could be.
What's to say that happens as instead of being routine Tottenham wins? I mean, we're taking for granted that big Ange ball seems to be the magic wand for Tottenham Hotspur. That he waved the magical wand of Big Ange Postecoglou, although probably won't recommend waving his wand because that's that's very specific business. But
that's definitely me cancelled. Cheers for that.
It's too much on focus on Ange Postecoglou plays really cool football to then not seeing the finer details in and amongst these games and performances for Tottenham Hotspur, where there's many different things where on another day it goes wrong and Tottenham don't win that game. And maybe Tottenham are riding their luck a little bit now.
Could be. I'll be honest, I'm actually looking forward to playing Spurs. Because when they were shit, they used to beat us all the time. So now they're actually good. It might work. I'm hoping it works the other way around, but normally it don't.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, mate, what can I say? Cheers for being on here, man. Absolute respect as always. This is episode 1 of View from the Cave. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. Just going to read some of the chat. Drew Gunners 1-0 Fulham. Kudos, I think, will be tough. That game with Fulham. Yeah, I don't think it'd be easy. It's Derby anyway, isn't it? Crystal Palace after will probably be our first loss. Yeah. Andrew Gunners, it's the history of the Cock Spurs. Exactly. But yeah, Big Fuzz. Why do I always call you Big Fuzz? HotFuzz, shout out your channel, mate.
Yeah, HotFuzz 44 OG on YouTube and the Instagram. You can find me just by typing in my username in the search bar. It should be quite obvious which one I am. It's quite a specific channel logo, and it's the same logo on my Instagram, so you can find me on Instagram quite easy. If not, then it's linked on my channel homepage. But aside from that, just now that international football's here, I don't really have much in the way of talking about Manchester United as much. Although, with the amount of stuff that goes off the pitch from my club, there's probably plenty to talk about. I know this takeover stuff's caught fire again. It's like the increasing confidence and Qatari end of things. So we'll have to see. I mean, I'm hoping that news is good and is quite frequent across the international break. But we'll have to see what the media cooks up.
Yeah. 100%. Cheers for that. Make sure you subscribe to HotFuzz. This will be continuing sort of after the international break and everything. I might do a watch along for England. I don't know. I don't think I'm bored enough, to be honest with you. But basically, there's 3 things I want to do at the end of this show every time. I want to have a best game of the week, which last week for me was Newcastle, PSG. Don't think there's anything that really came close to that. Have the most exciting sort of game of the weekend, I would say probably United Brentford, because of the way it finished. I thought that was absolute. That to me is the one that sticks out. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans, for the most boring of the game of the week goes to Arsenal Man City. You got your 3 points. Good for you guys. But, it was boring. I mean, nobody cares if a game's boring, to be fair. But, apart from me, obviously. But Anthony Oates says 2-1 Fulham. I just subscribed to HotFuzz. Nice one.
Yeah,
time for some VR gaming while my little girlie's out. Yeah, take care, Drew, mate. Cheers for popping in. Respect. Take care, everyone. From Cole Rossi. Respect to you as well, man. Back at you, Cole. And chicken on a basket FC. Exactly, kudos, exactly. Right, okay, guys, we're gonna leave it there. Like I say, thanks everyone for coming in. This will be a proper show now from the probably every Wednesday or whatever. See what I can do. It might be different guests on every time I do it because HotFuzz has been quite disappointing, to be honest. So I'll be replacing HotFuzz. No, You're fired. You're fired. No, basically, no, he's awesome. Got loads of time for this guy, and I will be putting other people on it as well. Just having chats and just going through games and things like that. Mr. Rossi, mate, you'll be on at some point, absolutely. Big up, Jez, mate. Cheers for coming in. Great show. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And right, guys, we're gonna call it there. So Yeti out, and see you all later. Love.